Hi, fourth graders. Welcome to art today. We are going to be needing a writing utensil, so any kind of pencil or pen, and a piece of paper. And today we'll be doing a project that shows the Utah State Capitol because I know one of the things that you talk about in fourth grade are the organized governments and how they meet the community's needs, which is really interesting right now with the government is doing so much to try to help our communities. So we're going to draw our state capitol, and we will get started by, and hopefully you've seen it before. If you haven't, that's okay. You can kind of imagine it as we go. I looked at a picture to kind of get an idea of how we could do this. So we are going to start in the middle of our paper right here, and let's see if I can turn. We're going to just make a little rectangle here. So two sides and then across the top, across the bottom, and inside that rectangle we're going to draw 6 pillars across, and we're going to count the 2 lines on the edges as 2 of the pillars. So we'll connect, do another line, and there's 1 pillar on one side, and there's 2, and then we need to fit 6 more in here. So just do your best to space out 6. I'm going to do 1 line first and go back and add the other line. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you run out of space, it's okay. If you're using a pencil, you can erase. If you're using pen, it's fine. It doesn't have to be exact. We're just going to get the idea of what the Capitol looks like. So now I'm going back and I'm just making those into columns like this. Okay, so this is the front and center part of the building, and it has a triangle on top. So you can make that part, and if you want, you can even draw inside that triangle. There's a little smaller triangle set back like this. Okay, around the triangle we've got some angles. So we're going to come up. So we'll start on this side. Come up a little ways, not as tall as the triangle though, and over to touch the triangle. That was supposed to be a straight line. Sorry. And then on this side, same thing, up and over. Kind of like you have a rectangle behind there. It's okay if it's not perfect. Again, that's not a problem. Okay, then we're going to come over the top with a small curved line. And above that, we have 2 more straight lines coming up, and we're going to curve across in the same way that you curved that first curved line. And again, if you need to stop or pause at all to catch up, you can, and just enjoy and do your best. Okay, so next we have another set of columns, and that's inside here. I didn't count these, and if you want, you could pull up a picture of the Capitol as well, like I did, and use that for reference. I'm just going to go ahead and guess here. There are a few more pillars like this. Okay, and then we have another, we're going to do another piece of the building on top. We're coming in from the edge a little bit, and another smaller vertical line, a shorter vertical line, and same thing on the other side. And then we're going to connect those with the same type of curved line over. Okay, and then we have a dome on top of that. So there's a couple, you could start at the top and kind of mark your spot if you want, or you could just draw it across. And this dome does kind of have some ribbed lines on it like this, kind of like a pumpkin. So you can do some lines in there if you want. And then at the top there's kind of a, at least from the picture, the photograph that I was looking at, there's like a piece here that's round, just like this, with a smaller rectangle coming up and a shape on top. So this is the middle of the building. Okay, then from the corners of this front part, we're going to angle out. And this is because the stairs are coming down and they're coming towards us and getting bigger. So the two lines angle out on both sides. And then we're going to go across the bottom. And you might enjoy doing this with a ruler too. If you like it doing that, that would be fine. So then with the stairs, how I'm going to draw those is I'm going to just take some straight lines across, and I'm just showing the stairs this way because we're so far away in our view of the Capitol that we don't need to get too detailed here for this, for what I'm doing with you. So this is enough, I think, to just show that these are stairs and give the idea, general idea. Okay, and again, you can just count how many steps you want to do. All right, there's the front steps. And next, we're going to do the two sides of the building. So the length of your rectangle in the middle, you want to make sure that each side is longer than that. So if you measure out to the side, and then you're going to extend it a little bit. And that's how long each side is going to be. So you're going to take your writing utensil about in the middle of where these side triangles are, about in the middle there, and you're going to come out, like I said, about the same length and maybe half the way more. All right, it's not exact, but that's okay. And then same thing on the other side. Okay. Now you do want to try and make both sides, however long you did this side, you want to do it about the same on the other side, but it's all right. Okay, and then you're going to come down to about where the bottom of these columns were to finish your rectangle on the side of the building. So you might want to start with one line or the other and see where they meet up. I have, yeah, my lines aren't perfect, but I'm showing you that so that you know that it's okay. Unless if you're doing this with pencil and you want to go back and make sure these are all really straight, that's fine, and that could be a fun thing to do if you want to do that, if you're into it. Okay, so then we have our top part of this building, kind of like a little shelf here. So we're gonna come about where that bottom of that triangle was and draw two lines out to the side, and then we're going to make another line inside. So what this is, I think from the picture, is there's kind of a walkway up here, or some kind of like a gate or a fence on top there, and then there's like a shelf, or a shelf is the wrong word, but a piece of the building that's an overhang, and then from here down is where there are more pillars. And So these pillars are also going to fill in this space in here. You can take your time to do this, and I didn't count these either. I would just space them maybe about the same as the ones in here if you want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in some more pillars. Just double checking my reference off to the side. Now, one thing you probably want to do is however many columns you put on one side, you might want to do about the same number on the other side. Although, honestly, it's probably okay if you don't. It's more just giving the effect of having lots of columns. Cross. Okay. Almost done. Okay. All right, and you can always hit pause if you're, you know, on a different pace. Okay, so then we are going to continue our building down about to where those stairs end, almost to where the stairs end. So down and down, and this area there's some windows, or they might be doors, but they're far away, so it's hard to tell. So now come from the bottom of the stairs, and you're gonna go all the way out to the outside of the building. Now, you might not need to go all the way to the edge of your page. If you have room, just stop right here. So out to the outside of your building, and hopefully you left a little space there. If you didn't, it's fine. Okay, and then you're going to bring it up and over. And this is another one of those little fence type of things around the perimeter of the building. So now I'm going to connect that down. Okay, and this in here is the area I was telling you about where there are windows or doors, some kind of dark shapes with glass. So they could be offices. I'm not really sure actually what they are. This makes me want to go on a field trip to the Capitol to check it out a little more, which is always a fun thing to do. Okay, so now we have the walkway, the sidewalk. So we're going to, the angle that we had of the stairs coming out is about the same angle that we're going to continue for the sidewalk, and I'm going to bring it all the way to the bottom of the page here and here. And this is where there are a couple gardens, and with perspective we're going to see that these gardens are rectangles, but when we're looking at them from far to near, the sides are going to come towards us, and as they go back, they go toward a vanishing point like this. So this first garden, I think there are a couple, so we're going to split them up. So there's one here. So our back and front lines are parallel to each other. They're horizontal. Those don't change their angle, but the side is where you get that angle. So the back line is actually shorter, front line is longer, and these lines that connect are not, they're not perpendicular anymore, they're angled. There's one garden, and then we'll do another garden in the same way. So again, it gets a little longer with this horizontal line, and the sides come out at an angle. And in here, in the pictures, it's showing me that there are some bushes. So I'm going to kind of do a bush here, and a bush here. Kind of looks like a piece of bread. And then we have a bush I'm just making up these shapes. They're just organic shapes. You can make them just look like bushes, however you want. And these are areas that have grass. So when we color it, if you're going to be coloring this, these are green on this. This is the sidewalk behind. So this one may also have some bushes. And then something that's really cool at the Capitol is you have the flagpole right in front. And so it's coming out of this sidewalk area, and I'm not exactly sure if it's coming out of the garden or in between, but it's gonna come right down the middle. And the flag, if you're looking at it from this angle in the pictures, it's about as tall as this top row of columns. And so I'm just gonna make that flagpole. If I was using pencil, I could go back and erase the lines I'm drawing through, but I'm not, that's fine. And here's where the flag would hang. So you kind of just do a hanging shape here. And maybe I'll just make, so my flag is drawn on top of the building. I'm just not too worried about it because this is just for fun, but I'm gonna just make a line here. And I'm gonna say that this area is gonna be the star area. So when I color it in, it will be dark, and then I can do some stripes coming down. So I can just make it work, and you can do it how you want. All right, and then to finish this, we're gonna extend the line out so that we can have a little bit of ground perspective there, but if you go to the Capitol, actually this ground goes up and around, and this whole area is kind of a hill. So if you want to, you can add more things in the background. So you might want to play around with maybe this line, instead of being here, could be back here to show that there's area behind the Capitol as well. So you can play around with that, and you might want to look at some pictures of the Capitol as a reference for that too, if you have it online, or have your parents help with that if they have some pictures. Okay, so this is our view of the US Capitol, and I'm going to sign my name in the bottom right corner. Sign your name, and it will look different on my screen, but you're going to sign it right here. Mine's backwards from you, so it will be here. Now, I'm going to make a copy of this before I start coloring. You can go ahead, and if you're ready to, if you have some crayons, colored pencils, paint, markers, any kind of coloring supplies, you are welcome to start using those. And you know that in art I like to have music playing. So if you want to choose your own quiet music, it could be classical, which is what I often like to have playing during art, or it could be any kind, or you can have it be quiet, or do this or with your family and have a conversation. So it's up to you, but if you're ready and you want to color, then you can just go ahead and get started. And I would recommend looking at a picture of the Capitol if you can, like I said, just to give you some ideas about the colors in the background. But I'm going to just go ahead and color it from my memory, and I'll just choose colors if I'm not sure, and you're welcome to do that too. And then it kind of makes it more exciting when you go there someday, the next time you go, and you'll be able to check and see what it really looked like. So I'm just going to angle this, so hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to get started with the flag. I really love seeing the flag up at the Capitol. So like I said, I'm just doing some red stripes down. And some blue. And there's a state flag flying there as well. So you could also draw that if you want. But I didn't have a ton of space, so I'm just gonna do this one. All right, so the Capitol, I'm gonna use like a light gray color for most of the building. And so I've actually drawn this before, and I'm going to look at my reference really quick to see what colors I used, because that might be helpful. So let me get that out here. You can hopefully keep coloring while I'm looking for this. Okay. Maybe harder to find than I was thinking, but should be here. All right, well, I think what happened is it stuck in with some other art pieces, so that's okay. We'll go ahead with what we have. So. The reason I was looking up to find if I could see that picture is because I was interested in seeing the shadows on the building, because even though the building is all pretty much one color, there's shapes in front and behind, you should be able to see light and dark. So actually, I think what I'll do here is I just want to make sure that I'm giving you a good idea. Okay, perfect. There we go. Something I can look at. Okay, so we do have kind of this whitish gray. So I'm seeing that it's a little bit darker gray here in this triangle that we drew. And it's going to be a little darker in some of these edges. So anywhere where there's like an edge, where two pieces of the building meet, in reality there's a shadow there, because there's either an overhang or something because of how the building's connected and constructed. So you can draw a little bit darker lines on where the pieces of the building connect. And we have a darker top up here, like this. Okay, great. And then we've got remember our overhang I was talking about, where there's like a lighter kind of a fence, or like a wall on the top, and then it casts a shadow on this part under it. So I'm doing dark gray right there. Okay, and then we have our shadows in the back. Now, something I didn't draw with you is all the windows back inside here. So if you want, you can take a look at a picture of the Capitol and you could fill in with more of these types of shapes. There's about 3 in between every column all the way down. So that might be kind of fun. In fact, I think I'm going to do that just with coloring. I'm going to go ahead and do some windows. In the picture I'm looking at, they are light blue because they're reflecting the sky. the glass right there is reflecting the sky. I think it's kind of fun to see all those windows. It just adds a little bit of design to the building. So go ahead and I'm just drawing these in with crayon. And after, you can, I'll show you, I'm going to shade part of these walls. Okay, and then same thing in the middle here. So we've got these 3 windows, and then once you get to the middle of the building, there's doors. They're still kind of the same idea, so get a darker color and do some doors here at the bottom. It's kind of fun to draw a huge building like this. And they actually have, you can't see that one because it's behind the pole. They actually have a few, looks like 3 or 4 doors. I'm just gonna stick with the ones that I drew. Okay. Getting there. Okay, there's our windows. So look at all those. Oh, and on the bottom too, these are windows. And we're seeing the sky reflected in those too. All right. Okay, so the rest of this is just going to be, I'm going to shade in a little bit from the top down inside these columns. So the top is in shadow because it's under that roof. You can see that. It's a little darker so you can see better. And I'm just going to color right over those windows because they're in shadow too. I have to find which ones are the columns and which ones are the buildings. Okay. You can see how it's starting to give a little dimension to the building even though it's just all kind of one color. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead with a light gray, and I mean it kind of looks white in some lights, the building, but it's stone, so I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of do a light gray layer. I'm gonna go these across, and the bottom here. Okay. Crayons have little pieces that fall off. And then we've got this little gate, not a gate, but like a border around the building, around the sides. And the stairs going up. And the stairs actually have like railings too going up those, so you can see got like some lines. If you do those railings, you want to make sure that they also go out, down, down, and out so that it looks like they're going back to a vanishing point. That one got a little off, but that's So you can kind of see where people hold on when they go up the stairs. Okay. And, all right, and then here we go with the sidewalk. So it looks like a really lightly colored sidewalk. So I'm just gonna do light gray. And remember that these are gardens in the between, so you don't wanna color those gray. Unless you're making a gray sculpture garden, which would be cool. If you wanna do that, that'd be fine. I do try to keep my coloring going the same direction. If you start going horizontally, I would try to stay horizontal. I went back vertical over there, and so I'm going to do the same thing on this side just to make it match. That was just to kind of fill it in, but even when I do that, I'm still trying to make it go smoothly in the same direction. All right, and then let's get our gardens and our green in. So, okay, I am looking at a picture and I'm actually seeing that back here, we really see more of, these would maybe be more like the mountains or the foothills that are behind the Capitol, and the grass really is a little bit down here because it's on a hill, like I said before. So I'm going to take my bushes. They've got some colorful bushes and flowers here. So I'm going to do a brighter green here. And there are some purple flowers in the picture that I'm looking at. So I'm going to change my bush here to some flowers. So you can be creative, and let's see. I'll try. There's a different green. I'm trying to get a few different greens to show the different kinds of plants. Yellow, green. Okay, and then I can do the grass around the outside. And the same thing, like I said before, just I would go the same direction. If you decide to color it going horizontally, then for the most part, keep your crayon horizontal. Now, I know that you might be using colored pencils or markers, same thing, or you might be using paint, which is awesome. If you want to use like just anything that you can find that's okay for you to use at your house. If you have chalk pastels, or let's say like someone decided to do this with chalk on their sidewalk, you know, so be creative. You can really do whatever you can to get this drawing done. And if you're just using a pencil or a pen, then that's great. You can still do all the things I'm doing with gray, pretty much. So you just decide if you're trying to represent a light color or a dark color. So this would be dark gray, light gray, light gray, dark gray, and you can still shade, you know, darker for the shadow, darker for the rails, darker for the doors. So you can totally do this in black and white if you'd rather do that, or if that's all you have to work with right now. So you could try making this with Play-Doh if you really wanted to. That could be a little different technique, but you could totally make this building out of Play-Doh if you wanted to. So for this grass, I'm just going to do this grass coming in at an angle. I feel like I can color it easier. I have it on this board, so I can go off the paper onto the board, I mean. And if you are drawing on a nice surface, like nice table or tablecloth, make sure you put some kind of paper you don't need under your paper, so you can go off the edge. Like, you know, in art we do that on the table. It's okay to do that on the table with most of our media, but with at home, I don't know if it will be as easy to clean off your table. So be careful, of course. That you already know that. I like this darker green for the grass here because the Capitol's grass there's so much, such a big lawn, and it's well taken care of, so usually it's pretty nice grass. Fun place to go. Get this down here so I can finish that. Okay, and now you get to decide how you want to do this part. If you drew this, I'm going to use some browns and purples because in the picture I'm looking at, I can see just the foothills, which are like those smaller, that's what I call them, at least the smaller mountains up behind the Capitol. I mean, they look smaller than the ones to the east and the west from where I am. And so we're going to have just, we know that as objects recede into the distance, they get farther away, they look more blue, they get like a cooler color to them. And so these are far away, and so I'm mixing some cooler colors like blue and purple, put some brown in there because there's dirt, and hopefully that will kind of make it look like these are some mountains in the distance. I can see on the mountains there's some patches of like green. Of course there's trees and bushes, things like that. So that's an option. Okay, and now when I look at the picture that I'm looking at, the photograph online, there's actually you can only see these mountains off to this side. So I just did artistic liberty and did it on both sides. But you, again, if you're looking at a picture, draw what you see. That's great practice. Okay, so to finish up, so the Capitol is on a hill and of the sky. So you choose your favorite sky you want to do. And it could be a sunset, which is what I'm going to do. Be blue sky, rainy, whatever you want. And I realized that this video has gone on a little bit longer, so hopefully you took a break if you needed one, or if you finished earlier than me, you can just stop the video and be done. I should have said that earlier. It's totally fine to take your own time, and if that's a little faster than me or slower, that's great. I'm just giving you this video here of me finishing so that you have it if you'd like to see one way that you can finish it. I'm sure yours looks different. You're probably using different supplies and different, have different ideas, and that's great. I'll just finish up here so you can see what I did. I'm going to put some clouds up in the sky. Let's see this. I'll show you. I used to live by the Capitol, and I would love going to see the sunsets around that area because you were on a hill, so you could see out over the city, and you just, I don't know, just the sky was really, really clear. It's kind of hard to see in the camera, but this is my sunset that I'm working on. So I'd probably add a little bit more red and purple to my sky to finish up. But I hope you had a great time drawing the Capitol and thinking about the things that government does for our community and the reasons why it was organized. So something you've been studying in school, and hopefully you can see how it applies to our art and our current situation. So thank you so much. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.